and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is Late Night Live. My name is Joe and there's no intro tonight. Oh my God, can you believe it? No intro, but that is for very good reason. Stick around till the end. There's some big Late Night Live news coming up, so make sure you stick around. Tonight then on the show we're going to be looking at Niklas Sule of Bayern Munich. He's been linked with Man United. Even to go as far as to say that he dreams of playing for Manchester United, which I don't know what that means. I haven't remembered a dream in about 10 years, so I'd love to play for Man United, but I couldn't technically say that I dream of playing for Manchester United. We're also going to be looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's been defending Mason Greenwood, who's been defending Rashford, who's been defending everyone basically in his pre-match press conference. We're going to be looking at a meringue pie that is the worst thing I've ever seen, and this week, Elvis's hair has gone to auction. Elvis has left the building about 40 years ago, but apparently people are still interested in his hair, and it's been sold for a hell of a lot of money this week. We're going to be looking at that, and that is why I want your rock and roll football puns. So footballers that link rock and roll, I'm going to be making a full starting 11 as I do every single week. So get your rock and roll football puns in the comments. Thank you very much. Let's get right into our first story. People saying the Alan Smith. There's already some good puns coming in. Neymana instead of Nirvana. Let's get into our first story and we'll come back to our rock and roll football puns. We've got Rolling Phil Jones instead of the Rolling Stones now. Christian Falk of Twitter. Actually, sorry, I forgot to say, tonight's show is sponsored, unusually, by Cans. Let's get another one in the chamber, shall we? It's nice to have a couple in the chamber, isn't it? Lovely pint of Cans. Cheers. Football's almost back, lads. And ladies, of course. Football's almost back, innit? We've had 2 weeks off and it's been hell. Now, the transfer rumours are coming back. Man United are playing West Brom. And guess what? They're so bad, we'll probably lose to him. Niklas Sule. 25 years old, tall as you like, plays for Bayern Munich, and he's been linked to Manchester United by Christian Falk, who is one of those figures on Twitter where you're never quite sure what you're going to get with him. He seems to be very reliable on Bayern stuff specifically, German stuff to a lesser extent, football in general to an even lesser extent. But he has tonight tweeted that Niklas Sule dreams of playing for, excuse me, those double cans have really got to me, that he dreams of playing for Manchester United. Now, United have been linked with a centre-back, linked with a lot of German-based centre-backs, Upamecano being one of them, as well as others based in Germany. I know he's French, obviously, but he plays for Leipzig. Now, Niklas Sule is the next on that list. He's 25 years old, and if I had to just read it out of my own head, not read it, I don't know why I said that, think of it, I'd say that he's won a Champions League, 3 Bundesligas, 2 German Cups, and 1 Club World Cup. But that's just my knowledge. He's one of those players, I think, who gets a lot of games for Bayern Munich, but isn't necessarily guaranteed to be a starter in every single game. And now he said that he dreams of playing for Manchester United. Well, has he said that, or has someone just said that he said that? It's one of those ones, isn't it, where you sort of go, what do you mean he dreams of playing for Man United? What does that mean? Was that when he was a kid? Is he actually had a dream where he woke up and went, oh, bloody hell, I had a dream of playing for Man United then? Because really, that doesn't mean out. Or does he mean he'd absolutely love to play for Manchester United? And if he would, maybe he'd be a good shout at Man United, because we seem to have a position in centre-back where no matter what we do, no matter how many goals we concede, we always think that we need better centre-backs. Now, last season, United conceded, I think we had the 3rd best defence in the league last season. We conceded 30 goals less than the season before, despite playing more games, and yet somehow everyone's going, United need more centre-backs. Now, I'm not saying that we've got the world's best centre-backs. I like Harry Maguire. I think he's very good. I think that, you know, Lindelof has been as good as Harry Maguire for the last few months, but overall, I do think Maguire offers more. And yet, I don't say that they're world-class players, or I wouldn't say that they're the best in the world in their positions, but I think they've improved our defence a lot. And this constant striving to we need more centre-backs, we need more centre-backs. Well, actually, our defence is pretty good. I think our defence is actually quite good. Now, did we concede 6 goals to Tottenham? Let me just check my notes. Yes. Yes, we did concede 6 goals to Tottenham, but Liverpool conceded 7 goals to Aston Villa. And you wouldn't say that all their centre-backs are bad. I mean, they've only got 1 good one, but you wouldn't say the rest were that bad. I just think that sometimes United's defence gets a bit of unfair stick because as soon as you lose games, that means you must have conceded goals. And in people's minds, if you conceded goals, well, your defence must be crap. I don't think that's necessarily the case, personally. I think we've actually got quite a good defence. And if we don't sign someone like Niklas Süle, despite the fact that he dreamed of playing for Manchester United, I don't think that's such a bad thing, personally. I think we could do with some backup. I'd like Twanzebe to be fit more often. I think that Eric Bailly I'd like him to be fit more often. But at this point, can we ever really hope for that? Or do we just have to say he's someone who gets injured all the time? I wouldn't mind having some better backups, but I think our defence, by and large, and you might get some stick for this, is actually a very good defence. I'll say it. But if we did sign Niklas Süle, I'd be the first one to go, yeah, great signing. So I'm a hypocrite. I'll be a hypocrite till the very end. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a hypocrite, by the way. A lot of people say that, oh, he's a hypocrite, he's an absolute hypocrite. We're all hypocrites. And you know what? If you admit it, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's get into some of your rock and roll football puns. We've got Louis Van Halen instead of Louis Van Gaal. That's very good. He's going to be the manager tonight. Again, if you weren't here at the start, I'm looking for your rock and roll football puns. So footballers' names that sound like anything to do with rock and roll. For example, Elvis Presley Sharp. Brilliant. Louis, what was it? Louis Van Halen. Very nice. Louis Van Halen. And a couple more. What else we got? ACFC instead of ACDC. There's the team name. ACFC. Very good. Steve Bruce Springsteen. Very good. He's going at centre back. Very good work there, Ross. Steve Bruce Springsteen. Nickname? The Boss. The Newcastle Boss. The big Geordie Boss. In this instance. Harry Wink 182. That's good. I'm just going to put in Wink 182 because we know what you mean at this point and it does work more closely with the band. Let's move on to our next story and we'll come back to these. Some very good ones in tonight. Ozzy Osbourne, we've got Aaron John Lennon and we've got Bon Jovic as well. He might go in up front. Bon Jovic. Very, very nice. Van Nistelback. Yep. Next story then. Let's get through it. We have got this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out and defended Mason Greenwood in his pre-match press conference for Manchester United against West Bromwich Albions. West Brom, who, by the way, are, I think, the third worst team in the league. Just the sort of team that United struggle against. Mason Greenwood will kick on after a fantastic first year. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on Mason Greenwood's last month here said, go back a year. I left him out of the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. Mason stayed back and played against Doncaster in the Checker trade. That's how far he has come. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is backing Mason Greenwood to kick on following a fantastic first 12 months in the Manchester United first team. Greenwood, 19. That's how old he is, not, which model he is. It's not like COVID-19, Greenwood 19. That's his age. He's been absent from training due to illness over the past fortnight and is unlikely to return against West Brom on Saturday. But the United boss recalled exactly where the striker was this time last year in order to offer some, I will add this, much-needed perspective into his rapid rise. If we go back a year, I left him out of the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. Mason stayed back and played against Doncaster in the Checker trade to get game time. That's how far he's come. Now he's got 19 goals for the first team. He's made his England debut. He scored in his first under-21s game. He's had fantastic development. Of course, the headlines are going to be there about him when he scores if he doesn't play. Everyone's allowed to not be well. And if you're not well, excuse me, you can't train. He's now stayed away. He's been away 8 or 9 days from training. We're just starting to build him up again. And for me, this is much needed, first of all, and something that I think we can give Ollie credit for. Something I think, I think some things the jury is still out in terms of Solskjaer. Does he quite have that final edge to take us to win trophies? We can't be certain because he's never done it. Does he have enough qualities to win as a league? Again, who can be sure about that? One thing I think we can say, we've had 18 months to decide on this now, and 18 months to notice the patterns and notice the trends and notice how he deals with these situations consistently. One thing we can say about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he always defends his players publicly, and he always does it in a good way. And this, as well, what it does, referencing a year ago where he was playing against Doncaster in the Checker trade, not only does it say, hang on a sec, look how far he's come, it also sort of shines a light on the sort of immediate 24-hour news cycle nature of the media, where you sort of go, if you were shit in the last game, you're a shit player. If you were good in the last game, you're a good player. when really you've got to have a bit more of a long-term perspective. And sometimes, unfortunately, it has to be up to the manager to do that, because if you go on Twitter, you go on newspaper websites, you read newspapers, you would think that Mason Greenwood is a 30-year-old footballer who's thrown his career away. Some of the headlines that have been written in the last 2 weeks, comparisons to certain players who, even themselves, if you knew more about their story, you wouldn't necessarily make those comparisons, but acting as though, well, you know what, he's not been in the squad for 2 weeks, so he's thrown his career away. Absolutely ridiculous. And sometimes, like I said, it takes the manager, it takes someone of authority within the club to come out and say, look where he was 12 months ago. He's just turned 19. Stop taking the piss, you lot. And you know what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, fair play, couldn't agree more to that. Oh, tastes like washing up liquid. That when I washed the glass, didn't thoroughly clean it out, but it's not a bad mixer. Not a bad mixer, that. Coming back then to some of your football rock and roll puns. We've got Johnny Cash Sheringham, Led Zeppelin off. Led Zeppelin off. That's not bad, actually. We've got Pulp Pogba. That's really good. Pulp Pogba. Now, you could say that Pulp are a pop band, but I'll let you have them as rock and roll because they play guitars and that. We've got Sting, Ikagawa, instead of Sting, of course. Cafu Fighters. Yeah, we can have that. We can have that one for sure. Cafu Fighters. What else we got? We've got Tyler Blackett Sabbath, not bad. We've got the Rolling Jones. We've got Bon Jovi Mikel. See, this is upsetting because I've already got Bon Jovic, but Bon Jovi Mikel is actually very good and maybe better than Bon Jovic, but it's written down. It's therefore set in stone. So keep them coming in, and I'm going to be putting together a full starting 11, which I'll read out at the end. It's as simple as that. James, where's Brown? Red Hot Chili Pele. That's made me laugh, if nothing else. Fred Zeppelin, yeah, he's in. Sometimes I can't not do it, can I? When it's of a quality such as Fred Zeppelin, he's going in. I need a right winger, a left winger, a centre back, a left back, and a goalkeeper to round out the team. Let's get into our next story. And this is, it's this one, I believe. Yeah, this is it. This is a nice one. It's a nice little picture, this one. Man's lemon meringue pie, dubbed an abomination by outraged bakers. You don't want to get them outraged. You do not want to get them outraged because, my God, they get hot-headed. 375 degrees for 20 minutes, that kind of hot-headed. A man's attempt to show off his home baking goods fell flat on Rate My Plate. That's Rate My Plate. Sorry, I skipped over that in what was a crucial slip of the tongue there, where his pie was relentlessly mocked by social media users over its appearance. And I'm going to show you that pie very shortly. It's a classic dessert that always raises a smile when it's on the menu. No, it's not. It's the sort of thing you'd see contestants make on the Great British Bake Off while Paul Hollywood stares at them intently. But it's fair to say lemon meringue pie isn't the best dessert to attempt if you're a beginner at baking. Lemon meringue pie doesn't always raise a smile when you're it's like that. Well, I'm just checking the dessert menu, just see what they've. I'm not full, but let me just see what they've got. Be a bit cheeky. Chocolate, sorbet. I mean, I'm smiling, so you know what it is. It's lemon meringue pie. Or in fact, have just recently discovered where your kitchen is during lockdown. So when poor amateur baker Terry enthusiastically posted a photo of his attempt in a food rating group, it attracted some very tough comments. Now, I'm going to show you the picture of this lemon meringue pie on the proviso that you all know it is, I promise you, a lemon meringue pie and not some sort of dirty protest or sex fetish, because it's one of the most vile and disgusting looking things I've ever seen. Let's have a look at this lemon meringue pie created by this man during lockdown. Where is it? It's here. Oh, no. Someone said, sweet holy hell, which Lovecraft nightmare did you dream up to come up with this concoction? Now, to me, that looks like a baked camembert, some sort of cheese, like a zoomed in infected spot or something. What even is that? What's that crust? Such a deep, deep crust on that. So there's your lemon meringue pie anyway. So imagine if you went round to your nan's house. Oh, she's a great baker, my nan. and you go around and you go, Nan's made this. That lands on the table. She's lost it. She's gone. Take her away. Despicable, that pie, isn't it? And also, why has he put it on the internet? You don't make that pie and put it on the internet. I mean, I'd taste it. Looking at it again, in my head it's savoury, so I'm going to have to get it around my head that that's sweet somehow, but I would taste it. I'm imagining it's got to taste like cheese, hasn't it? It can't not taste like cheese. Cheese with a little cracker on it. We've all had cheese and crackers, but sometimes you've got to put the cracker on top of the cheese. Not sure why. Right, let's move on. Don't ever make a lemon meringue pie, guys. That's the moral of this story. That is the moral of this story. Next up, we're going to be talking about Dan James. But before that, let me get some of your football rock and roll puns. We've got Zizou top. That's very nice, actually. But I've already got 3 midfielders. I need a left mid, a right mid, a left back, and a centre back, and a goalkeeper. Zizou top is very good, though. Spandau Bilic, that's pretty good as well. Deep crust is such a horrible phrase. Sorry, Ben. Sorry, I can't help that, can I? Luther Vandross Barkley. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. But again, I've already got centre mids. Madonna Rumour. That's yeah. Madonna Rumour. That's good because it's like you've heard a rumour about Madonna as well, isn't it? Ben Meegees instead of the Bee Gees. Motley Crue. That's very good. That's very good actually. What else we got here? Chris Eagles. That's a nice one. But again, I've already got central midfielders. Wilfred's Aha, of course, who wrote Take On Me. Yeah, you can go in. It's hard to say that without sounding like Alan Partridge, though, let's be honest. Wilf. Let's put Wilf on. I don't know him, but I'm mates with him. Wilf. That's a very good one, actually. Take On Me, yeah, Brian Kevill there. Peter Schmeichellers. Yeah, that's not bad. Edwin Band de Sar, that's pretty good as well. And before we move on, we've also got Madison Manson, which is very good. Marcus Slashford, of course, from Guns N' Roses, I believe. Lovely big hat. That's the great thing about Slash, isn't it? I bet he's one of them. Slash, obviously, I'm sure you're all aware of who Slash is from Guns N' Roses. He's one of those people that I bet you he's been bald for about 20 years and he's just got hat with hair built into hat. Top hat with a little curtain corridor of hair built into the hat to stop people knowing that he's bald. It's a great idea. Very good idea, actually. Next up then, Dan James. And this is just a quick one, actually, because I wanted to talk about Dan James as someone who I think has been mistreated by United fans. Now, is he the best player that United's ever had? No. Has he exceeded expectations in a mad way? Not really, no. But has he been a player that's played a lot more games than we thought he would and then been criticised for not being as good as the amount of games he played suggested he would be? If that makes sense. Yes, he has. Like, I think, he played 30-odd games last season and therefore he was criticised as someone, well, you've played 30 games, you're a first-team player, we hold you to the same standard as every other first-team player. And really, if we'd have had a fit team, if we'd have had a better team, he wouldn't have been in it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, 15 million quid, not saying that he's going to be at Manchester United for the rest of his career. But whether he is or he isn't, the criticism he got was not his fault. And he shouldn't have been held to the standard that he was held to through no fault of his own. Now, he scored a very nice goal for Wales the other day. I think it's his first goal since about October 2019. But I'm going to show you that goal now. Due to copyright infringements or potential infringements, I'm not allowed to show you more than 0.1 seconds of this goal. So look closely. I'm about to play the goal now. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen it, but if you haven't seen it, here it is. Yep. So, what a goal it was as well. Do you want to see it again quickly? Again, I can't play any more than this because there is potential copyright infringement. Goal. What a goal. So very well done to Dan James, and it's not your fault that you were criticised and held to a standard that isn't really the standard you should have been held to. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses for someone. If he's playing for Man United, he ought to be good, but not his fault. That's all I'm saying. One more time. Goal. Right, let's move on then. Let's move on to our final story of the night. But before we do, let me check in on some of your rock and roll football puns. We've got Iron Jaden. He's going in at left wing. I've seen Iron Maiden live. Lovely night. Lovely night. Drinking Spitfire beer, which I believe is the beer of Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of Iron Maiden. So I had Iron Maiden in the ears and Iron Maiden in the mouth as well, which, saying it out loud, is a lot worse than it sounded in my head. But what am I meant to do about that? I've said it now. The Velvet Underground. Now, unless I'm mistaken, that's just a band, isn't it? Or am I missing a football pun in there somewhere? You know what, even if I'm not, I love the Velvet Underground, one of my favourite bands, so can't be mad at that. We've got Big Daddy Harry Kane, which is good, but we just need a left-back and a centre-back now. We're down to the two pivotal positions. We've got Axel, U2 and Zabi. U2 and Zabi. That's very good. And just a left-back will take us through. Let me read you this story then, and I'll come back for our rock and roll 11. Give me a left-back while I'm reading. Our final story of the night. What a night, eh? What a blinking night after all. Turn that one off, turn that one off. There you go, look at that. She's happy. What's she happy about? Well, it's not that she just bought some new nail clippers. But what it could be is that Elvis Presley's hair saved from barber's floor to be auctioned for £6,000. Now, I can tell you, my man at the auction's house, it has been sold for £4,000. The black strands from the King's famous quiff were swept up by his barber, Homer Gilliland, who flogged the cuttings to fans following Elvis's untimely death in 1977. A lock of Elvis Presley's hair is expected to get fans all shook up. What a joke. It's what a joke. When he goes under the hammer with an estimated price tag of £6,000 for some hair. You know when you put your jacket on. Oh, there's a little hair on the shoulder there. What do you do with it? You do that, and then you go, fuck that off, and you throw it away. You don't go, do that. Sellotape it to cardboard. Sell it later. A lock of Elvis Presley's hair is expected to get fans all shook up, of course, when it goes under the hammer with an estimated price tag of up to £6,000. The black strands from the King's famous quiff were swept up by his barber, Homer Gilliland, who flogged the cuttings to fans following Elvis's death in 1977. He mounts the locks on a card, writing down most unsettling sentences ever read. He mounts the locks on a card. This card contains a lock of hair from the king of rock and roll, as cut by Mr. Gill of Memphis, memories of which in future years they will always be. Elvis 1935 to 1977, which were his best years, his living years. Although a little less conversation, a little more action did come out in about 2008 and was a decent song. So, you know, it says 1977, but he's still alive right here in our chests. Lifelong British fan Tom Unwin snapped up the hair in 2010 to add to his collection of memorabilia, which also includes the King's racquetball racket he bought in 2002. The 75-year-old retired building manager from Kids Grove, Stoke-on-Trent, is now selling the hair and racket, which are expected to fetch around £12,000 in total. He said, I bought the hair about 10 years ago and the racket in 2002 from a man who was running the Elvis fan club. I've been a huge Elvis fan since I was 15. I've collected memorabilia all my life, everything you can imagine to do with Elvis. I've been to his home in Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee a few times and met members of his band and his wife Priscilla Presley. She was fantastic. I'm selling now because I've had much enjoyment from my Elvis memorabilia. Writing that down to usurp the previous most unsettling comment. From showing my Elvis memorabilia to friends over the years, I would like others to experience the same enjoyment. What kind of enjoyment have you been getting from his hairs, mate? Would it be true to say that you've dipped those hairs into what you would call paint and used it as a paintbrush to write the word Elvis on your own chest in a liquid feces? Would that be true to say? Yes, it would. I rest my case. No further questions, Your Honour. Hair for £6,000. You know what? If you want to spend £6,000 on someone's hair, then do it. And that's why I've been growing my hair out, because in the unfortunate event that I do pass away, whether that be on the toilet, bloated to upwards of £300 or not, I would like that hair to be sold at auction. And if it beats Elvis Presley's hair price, then so what? If it doesn't, no harm done. But if it does, which it would, then I'd be very happy looking on down from on high or up from below. Who knows where I'll be. But yeah, £6 Elvis's hair. I mean, Elvis has left the building well and truly, I think, with that one, hasn't he? If you saw someone selling your hair at auction, you'd think, bloody hell, I was famous. You'd think you'd be grossed out, but actually you'd be like, I smashed it. Someone's willing to buy my hair. I've done all right. Right, let's get some of your football rock and roll puns before we go to round out the team. We need one left back and then we're rattling through the team before I give you the big news on Late Night Live before next week's show. We've got Moy Division, which is very nice. Elvis Presleyton Baines, very, very, very good. David, you can call me Al Abba. Now, I'm going to write that down, and you can tell from how long it said it's going to take a while to write down. So just chat amongst yourselves. Can call me Al Abba. Now, if I can't read any of these, which happens every week, I do apologise. But that's going to round out our football rock and roll 11. Now, the big news. I suppose there's no time like the present to announce this, is there? Next week will be the last Late Night Live. Now, we've had a great run. We've had a great 12 months of presenting this show. And let's not say never. Let's not say that we won't come back for a special here and there, perhaps during the January transfer window. We may well see another Late Night Live, but next week will be the last one as we know it on the weekly schedule on Friday nights. You know what? I need my Friday nights back. But it's not going away entirely. There's going to be gaps filled. There's going to be this sort of show still on the channel. We're going to be having a chance to bring more of the puns, to bring more of the laughs, to have a bit of a fun, maybe a can or two as well. But as I've said, next week's show, Friday, the 27th of November, will be the last Late Night Live in its current format. There are some sad comments. I did predict this. I don't really have like a party pop or anything like that, but make sure you tune in next week. And like I said, let's not say never. But you know what? We've had a great run. It's been 12 months of Late Night Live. I bought this. This was already here. I bought that. I bought the whole set. The telly never worked, so that was a disappointment from the start. Someone says it's because Joe's ankle tag keeps him home after 6 p.m. There is a little bit of truth to that. Day arrest, or night arrest, or whatever it's called, has prevented the show from continuing as it is. Stephen, what are you doing, mate? This was my decision. There was no pressure. There was no outside influences. It's my decision, boys. Someone says, where will I get my weekly puns? Well, I'm glad you said that, Dan, because we're going to be including that in a show that takes the place of Late Night Live. It may not be at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. It may be at another time. It may be a different style of show entirely, but it will take the place in the hearts and minds of all of us involved here at Stretford Paddock of Late Night Live. Someone said this is the worst thing to happen in 2020. Say it ain't so. It is a bombshell, Dominic, isn't it? Dom works here and he didn't even know. That's how cool, calm and collected I've been about this. Someone says they're disgusted. 2020 takes another. I'm so sorry, Adam. But there's a lot of Late Night Live that has happened there. Like I said, let's not say never. I'm pretty sure we will see Late Night Live at some point again, but the weekly version of Late Night Live will see its final outing next week. But before we go tonight, after that bombshell, I've never done a bombshell before. It's quite nice. I think I could do Top Gear. I'm a bomb dropper now. I love that. Before we go then, let's get your Rock and Roll 11 read out in all of its glory. Here we go. In net, we've got Madonna Rummer. Right back, we've got Cafu Fighters. Centre backs, what a partnership this is. U2 Wanzabi and Steve Bruce Springsteen at left back. We've got David, you can call me Alaba. In midfield, a wonderful midfield. We've got Fred Zeppelin, Harry Winks 182, and Pulp Pogba. At right wing, we've got Wilf Zaha, as in aha. Have to do a bit of explaining on that one, but not because it's not a good pun, but just because it's more of a written pun. Left wing, we've got Ian Jaden, and up front, we have got Bon Jovic again. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Thank you for all of your puns. Make sure you join me next week for the last ever Late Night Live. Thank you very much for joining me, I'll see you. I mean, we're going to be back tomorrow for the watch along for Manchester United against West Brom. Thank you once again for joining me. We'll see you in a bit.